Warning to Iran. He says Iranian leaders have 10 to 15 days to make a deal or, quote, bad things will happen. Now, the president's saying he's considering a limited strike on Iran to pressure them into a deal. For more on this, I'm joined by Arash Azizi. He's a postdoctoral associate and lecturer at Yale University and a contributing writer at The Atlantic. Arash, thank you for joining me. Now, Iran's ambassador to the United Nations says that his country would respond decisively if the U.S. strikes. So what do we know about Iran's government and their willingness to make a deal right now?
I mean, I think they really would like to make a deal. If you look at what the foreign minister was speaking about, he basically was like, oh, I think in a week we can start negotiations, we can get it done quickly. But there are the different elements in Iran. And frankly, it's hard for them to see what kind of a deal they can make. Can they get any concessions? Will President Trump lift sanctions in response to what they can give? And of course, domestically, they're also pretty much hated by their own people. Who have just launched 4 waves of massive protests. Recently, last month, we had a massive massacre of Iranian protesters, thousands killed. So the Iranian regime really finds itself under siege, both domestically and regionally. I think there are many elements that would like to make a deal, but it's tough to get one with President Trump.
Now, I want to talk about Iran's military capabilities. Let's say that the U.S. does strike first. What kind of capabilities do they have, and what kind of response do you expect to see?
Well, the military capabilities obviously pale next to the U.S., but they can still make life difficult. They have said, for example, that they'll attack Dubai, United Arab Emirates, which will be a major economic disruption, and they can attack U.S. bases in different countries in the region. They can attack U.S. bases in Iraq, for example. They have said that they will attack Israel again, bringing Israel into a war now. Israel, the U.S. have much higher capabilities, but the question is, some people in Iran might cherish the opportunity to draw U.S. into a longer war than it wants. Unfortunately, the Iranian people are going to pay a huge price in any such longer confrontation, but the regime might not care, so they might welcome an opportunity to prolong the conflict. I should say that Ayatollah Khamenei, the supreme leader of Iran, who is turning 87 soon, he's never shown to be the kind of person who does this kind of thing. He usually is very reticent and he talks big, but he doesn't really act on it. But he's not in full control anymore. So I've spoken to some actually, in Iran who are more gung-ho and who think, maybe we shouldn't be afraid, and maybe we should finally fight this battle. But it's going to go very tough for Iran, and it could be really terrible for the region as a whole.
And I do want to talk about the state of Iran's opposition, both in Iran and abroad. Do you think there'll be support for the Trump administration if they continue with these strikes?
It all depends on what actually the strikes will be. If you talk to a lot of people in Iran who had thousands of people killed by their own regime, President Trump said he was going to help them. If there was a way for him to help them, they would welcome it. But the honest reality is that there are unintended consequences. So Iranians are also very worried. We just saw 12 days of war last year, and the 12 days were bad enough. More than 1,000 innocent Iranian civilians died in this war. The destruction of infrastructure can have effects that last for decades. So I think while many would be happy to receive some sort of help, and they've advocated even for it, and the reality is that there are a lot of unintended consequences, and Iranians know that as well.
Right. All right, Arash Azizi, thank you for that information.